Kanye West is back in the news. Mary, why don't you tell us
Did he
all
leave the
about
news? You're saying back.
He's controlling the news.
He is sustaining his place in the news.
Yes. So he continues to provoke with not only his art, but with his social media posts. And he's recently been suspended from both Instagram and Twitter. I'm not even sure if I can repeat the things he's posted, but like, I guess I'll go for it. As long as I'm quoting it, I'm allowed to say it, right? It doesn't have any slurs in it, but
it's going to get clipped. Whatever you say will get clipped.
Okay, but I don't know how I can tell you guys what he posted without
just write on your notebook really quickly. Kanye said this and hold it up while you read it.
It's too long. Okay, he tweeted on Sunday exactly this. I'm a bit sleepy tonight, but when I wake up, I'm going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. The funny thing is, I actually can't be anti-Semitic because black people are actually Jew also. You guys have toyed with me and tried to blackball anyone who ever opposes your agenda. And he followed it up with another tweet that is not deleted, saying, who you think created cancel culture?
Which I just want to embroider who you think it created cancel culture on a sweatshirt.
Yeah, I think that's
such a fun philosophical question.
It's open to interpretation.
Who is John Galt?
And it's funny because he misspelled DEFCON 3.
I hope he really thinks it's DEFCON.
It's just kind of funny.
Like
Defense Con 3.
It's way cooler if he thinks
the seriousness with which this tweet is being reacted to, it is like he literally didn't think enough about it to do a spell check, because that's about like different U.S. armed forces like readiness levels.
Yeah. Also,
it's DEF.
Everyone reacting to it to virtue signal that they disagree with him is making it bigger than it ever would have been if the media had just left it alone to die on like his crazy Twitter thread.
Because Sarah Silverman tweets the same day, like, wow, I can't believe the silence is so loud. I can't believe no one is calling this out. Like, why do I have to fight for us?
As literally everyone is calling it out.
Yeah, and he got understandably flamed on Twitter for this all weekend.
One of the things I love
days after.
One of the things I love about Kanye is that he says a lot of stuff that I don't necessarily agree with too. And I had the same issue when we were watching the Tucker Carlson interview, where I watched like Tucker Carlson tee up all these like, as much as I agree with a lot of what they say, you can very clearly see like the positioning of like, this is our guy on our side of the aisle. And I hate that on both sides.
Kanye doesn't even court that.
No, he does. That's what I'm saying. That's what I hated about the Tucker Carlson part, is he's like, oh, and we thought before we call you crazy that we'll just we'll do this interview first, like you weren't doing this for political posturing and points. But the beautiful thing about Kanye is he doesn't think that way. He doesn't. He just thinks he just says what he thinks, and he's not really thinking about it as a team sport like everyone else is.
I just like the idea that he is like hanging out with whoever Kanye West hangs out when he's like, you think they're mad now? Watch, I'm gonna tweet this thing and make them even more mad.
Somebody was telling me Trump would do the same thing, like where he was like, they were like in the Oval Office, and he's like want to see something really funny, and like he posted like, he's like, I can make them respond with this in like less than 5 minutes, and like within like I don't remember what it was. I think it was like, Jack Posobiec.
That's all of the media is trying to keep up with Kanye West, even though they're mad at him. He sets the tone and narrative, and like, it's not that I agree with this sentiment, although I'm not even sure I like fully follow what his like specific complaints are. I just think it's funny that they are like, Kanye, stop. Who was like, Jamie Lee Curtis is like, you are a father. Please stop. Except he decides when it's over. Like, they can't do anything without him.
Yeah, that's why I think his favor for Trump was more of a personality compatibility thing than anything political, which it's so funny that they had to frame it as a political allegiance. Like, I don't even think he knows about Trump's policies or like what his presidency was like or what decisions he made and what lasting effects
I think it's just like
he likes his personality.
Like game respects game kind of thing. Like he just sees it.
So he knows what it's like to have opinions that aren't very popular and have to stand by them as everyone pushes back on you, which is not something everyone can do.
Do you guys feel like he should have gotten kicked off Twitter for all of this?
No.
I don't think anyone should be getting kicked off Twitter unless they're doing something illegal.
If you can't even say DEF CON properly, I feel like it shouldn't be taken seriously.
No.
Like,
and then his temporary suspension from Instagram was prompted by something he posted on Friday. So P. Diddy is one of the many celebrities who gave him pushback for the White Lives Matter t-shirts that he showed at Paris Fashion Week. And he actually went to Kanye directly, which I respect. He texted him about it, and Kanye then screenshotted a part of their conversation and posted it on Instagram.
Party foul.
Everyone should have known you should not be contacting Kanye.
I don't know why everyone is having these long text arguments with Kanye when they know it's going to get
send
posted.
Send him a voice memo. Like,
don't. But then he'll just record
it, to be fair.
But and then post that.
You know what I mean? At least on it. Like, if you send him a wall of text, you know, it was clear exactly where it was going to end up on his Instagram.
Yeah.
Like, why are we pretending?
At least Kim has learned this.
Yeah.
He sends it. He's sitting there waiting for a response, and all of a sudden he gets a notification that says, has been screenshotted. And he's like, damn it. Damn it.
So,
but maybe that's part of it. You want evidence that you are standing up to evil man Kanye.
I guess, it is posturing too. So in the screenshot, Kanye West wrote to P. Diddy, "I'm going to use you as an example to show the Jewish people that told you to call me that no one can threaten or influence me." So that's like the extent of his anti-Semitic posts that got him kicked off temporarily.
AOC had stuff to say about it.
He's been called out by literally everyone.
I didn't even know there was a Black Jewish Entertainment Alliance.
I didn't either.
They are like having their moment. This is our cross-section of issues.
We've got Diane Warren, Jack Antonoff, Joe DiMaggio.
No Ilhan Omar.
No Ilhan Omar. Interesting.
The silence is deafening.
The silence is so loud. He's been called out by the ADL. He's been called out by the Creative Community for Peace, whatever that is. Every blue check mark you can think of.
What the hell is the Creative Community for Peace?
I don't know. They just have a blue check and we're supposed to trust them.
What the hell does that
how
even
many
mean?
followers do they have? Like 3?
What the hell does that even mean?
I mean,
they have a blue check with 2,255 followers.
That's why I hate the blue check, because it gives people and organizations credibility when they've done nothing to earn it.
I'm starting a group called Short People for Peace.
I think someone followed me on Twitter who just used a version of the blue check and like put it in their Twitter name.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't understand what's happening. Why is it white? Is that just like the way my screen is coming up? I thought it was hilarious. It makes them look legitimate while making fun of this whole blue check thing.
Yeah.
Short People for Peace. Who's with me?
I'd rather be with short people for violence and discord.
I would be the leader of that organization.
Yes, you absolutely would.
And then there's been more fallout with his social media posts. He reposted a video from Azalea Banks calling Gigi Hadid a Cabbage Patch Kid in comparison to her Barbie doll sister, Bella Hadid.
Also, Lizzo said that she doesn't know what he's talking about. She's just minding her big, beautiful business.
Her big, fat, black, beautiful business. That is what she said.
I don't remember the fat part. But
that was in there.
Okay. That was in there. Yeah. And that was prompted by a part of Kanye's Tucker interview where he mentioned Lizzo. He also mentioned Lizzo on Instagram before that, but he was talking about how she always gets backlash about losing weight.
That's the funny thing is everything he said should have been helpful, and nobody's taking it as
His point
helpful.
was like, it's weird that you would give someone backlash for losing weight when being that overweight is clinically unhealthy. And
but that's
he said you're not allowed to say that.
That's
either.
a base assumption you're not allowed to have anymore.
Yeah. Well, his point was that it's like coming from a demonic place to genuinely wish ill on someone if they're trying to lose weight.
The moment,
which is a valid point.
When he talks about that, and when he talks about abortion being such a huge issue, those are inherently like they will not allow you to carry those beliefs.
And abortion in particular is something that he's spoken about, like. He was personally affected by a situation like this, where he said that one of his children with Kim, she was considering aborting her child. And it caused him tremendous pain to recall that.
I also want to point out that every time that he brings this stuff up, they go right back. Like, for all the people who talk about how we need to be, we have to have compassion for people and that we need to understand that people are suffering, they love to use mental illness against him. They love it.
And, I think it's such a manipulation of the conversation that they are all responding to the anti-Semitism controversy saying, wow, mental illness isn't an excuse to act like this, when no one claimed that mental illness was the reason he said these things or excused it as like he's mentally ill, he can say whatever he wants. Yep. No one said that.
Nope.
They're bringing it up to discredit him in the most slimy way possible. And they're the ones who always pay lip service to mental health advocacy, but they don't mean any of it. You're only met with a loving, accepting community by these people if you stay in line, you stay on script, and you do what they want. And that's why he hates them so much. He hates feeling like he has to comply. He hates feeling micromanaged, psychoanalyzed.
And this happens for anyone that gets out of line for any of the marginalized groups.
Can I read you a Kim Kardashian tweet from 2018? It was after one of the times that Kanye did something and the media was like, he's crazy. He has bipolar disorder, which he does. She says, to the media trying to demonize my husband, let me just say this. Your commentary on Kanye being erratic and his tweets being disturbing is actually scary. So quick to label him as having a mental health issues for just being himself when he has always been expressive is not fair.
Yeah.
I feel like we should just retweet this one again.
I miss when he had this support from Kim and now he's kind of just floating and he's on his own and he doesn't feel like he has support as a co-parent, as a man, as an artist in any way.
Meanwhile, she is like taking out all of her implants. She looks like a little bit like she's losing tons of weight. Like, they need each other. They are meant to be together.
I know. Like, we need Kanye back.
So if we take away, I'm not a huge fan of what he said regarding Jewish people. In general, the rest of everything he said in that Tucker interview, I tended to like most of it, and I enjoyed a lot of that interview. But is the base assumption here now supposed to be that you either toe the line 110% or you're mentally ill and should be disregarded?
There are certain topics that I feel like you are absolutely never supposed to cross in any way.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, so it's like if he wasn't mentally ill, then they would be using the excuse of he's just a bigot.
Well, they're saying he's mentally ill and a bigot.
Yeah, I think they're saying
those are
both.
two reasons that we can discredit anything he says now.
It's
anything he creates. I think it's so disgusting and unfair that, like, after he has volunteered this information about himself, like, gotten very personal with the public, and maybe that's a bad idea, but he did it out of a place of sincerity, that it's been twisted against him to this degree. Like, he only shared that he was diagnosed with bipolar in 2018. He was hospitalized for a psych eval for the first time in 2016. And ever since then, it's just been like controversy after controversy after controversy, where more and more people throw him into this box of he's crazy, don't listen to anything he says. But then in another context, they're perfectly willing to be supportive of people that have mental health struggles.
The foil for me is Demi Lovato, right? She has also been very public about her bipolar disorder diagnosis, and anything she does is considered good and acceptable and valiant. All of her actions that you might like, we talked about her song where she basically calls out Wilmer Valderrama. Thank you, team. On their age difference and when they got together when she was underage, which, like, I'm not saying that's wrong to do, but, like, in other circumstances, you would have wanted that person to handle that matter privately or through the court system. I think that we glorify people whose bipolarism doesn't disrupt left narrative, whereas Kanye West, I don't think necessarily any of this has to do with his bipolar diagnosis, but also it's causing him to be crazy, quote unquote, and I don't believe that, in a way that they don't like, right? His erratic behavior calls attention to some of the problems with left narrative, and therefore it's bad. Whereas, like, if you looked at how unhappy Demi Lovato was, especially through all of her gender issues, that had nothing to do with being bipolar. That really just had to do with, her truth and whatever buzzwords they give you.
She's had erratic behavior for a long time too. I think the only time she's gotten backlash is when she put that like froyo business on blast on social media.
She's like, how dare they put all those great tasting options right at the front? Don't you tell I'm trying to lose weight here? Right?
Well, no, it was about them having like sugar-free options.
Stuff,
And she was like, that's playing into diet culture. And
all the diabetics are like, no, disagree
they're
hardcore.
Like, excuse me, can I have froyo too?
I really do believe that the ability to like intellectualize and give labels to a bunch of stuff, like just the term diet culture sucks. Just being able to give it a term that you can then use in some statement you use to destroy some small business, but sound like semi-intelligent while you do it. I hate that.
I mean, thankfully that business recovered from that. They were review bombed by Demi Lovato stans for a while, but they did recover, and eventually she had to apologize, etc. But anyway,
remember
besides the point.
I also want to talk. Did you look into him doing the interview, or he did the sit down with Gabriella Carefa Johnson? Did we talk about that?
Yeah, I never watched that because I couldn't find it on YouTube. Was that posted anywhere?
That did happen though, right? They did sit down.
Yes, they did.
One of the other issues that I have with all of this is that as they sit from the stands. Now, by that I mean like he's saying these things publicly, but somehow he becomes on one side of like a giant set, like an aisle with like a wall separating them. So he's over here, and then everyone else. Here. And then everyone else is there on the other side, but somehow he is like they get to lob stuff at him, nothing happens, right? Like they get to lob stuff at him, nothing happens. He lobs stuff back at them. Suddenly he's attacking them.
Yeah,
that's a problem.
And it's not even punching down because he doesn't have any support anymore. Yeah, like except for I guess like he has a faction of diehard fans
who defend
him, but like. He doesn't have institutional support anymore. Nope. His business contracts are in a questionable state. Like, I don't know if his contract with Adidas is going to last because...
But Adidas has said on multiple occasions that, like, he basically has given their brand relevancy in this modern culture that they couldn't have sustained on or achieved on their own. Like, it's crazy that they are willing to throw him under the bus or part ways with him over stuff that... you know, I think should fall under the category of free speech. Obviously, I wouldn't, support, like, I wouldn't support if he is, like, actually advocating violence or anything like that. But, like, him saying stuff that makes people upset shouldn't be grounds for termination of positive business partnerships.
I mean, my guess was that Kanye's chaotic social media behavior, specifically with calling out Adidas... and their creative director was his attempt to get that contract terminated because he didn't want to be in it anymore.
Interesting.
Very smart.
And that seems like it's possibly going to work, especially after these new posts. I didn't expect that, especially after the Tucker interview. He seems like nothing in the Tucker interview is objectionable in any way.
I said I take more of an issue with Tucker and like the not him but all political pundits on both sides, right? That they like as soon as you say something they like, they're like, oh, well, come on,
he's our guy.
Come on over here, he's our guy. Before we call you crazy, we thought we should just sit down and have a discussion with you. Like, yeah, because you're politically aligned right now, and I hate that. I hate that on both sides.
That even happened when Shia LaBeouf openly talked about converting to Catholicism, and then all of these Catholics are like, hey, he's our guy, and that's not an ethical thing to do because you don't know this person. You don't know his real intentions because he's not your friend. And it's his personal business whether or not he has converted in earnest.
It's funny too because that's the stuff that reminds me just how like alone I am in the in the political sphere when it's like yes all day you're inundated with stuff that annoys you from like the CNNs and the MSNBCs of the world, but then like when you find stuff that goes the other direction that you might even agree with but don't like the way it's presented, it just reminds you how alone you can actually be when you're kind of politically homeless as far as where you fit in within the current culture, I guess. So.
I just I resent a lot of the framing around this right now.
Well, it would be one thing if they didn't champion it so much. If they didn't champion mental health and raise Black voices and all these things when it fits their narrative. It wouldn't be so abhorrent if they didn't go completely the opposite direction, as long as they're on message.
If Kanye's fans were out here genuinely claiming that it's okay for Kanye to threaten people because he's mentally ill.
Yeah.
If they were actually out here saying that, I would understand. But they're responding as if that's being said, and it's just, I haven't seen it. There's no evidence anyone is saying that. So I think it's just intellectually dishonest.
And this story will keep evolving because he doesn't seem to have any inclination of stopping. So we will follow it as
I
it
just
goes.
want to know if he's going to announce, like, he's moving to Rumble. He's getting on Gab. Like, I just want to know, because he can be successful with support from the public and without it. That's the magic of Kanye's ability to understand relevancy and to understand media presentation. It's one of the reasons I thought he and Kim were such a power couple, because he is so divorced from needing to comply with public opinion, but he is well aware of it, and she is able to capitalize off of but she knows how to market to it, pursue it, and turn it into cash.
That is kind of like an actual power couple.
They were an actual power couple. No one appreciated it, including Kim Kardashian.
And he still speaks highly of her. I really hope that can be
Work
repaired.
out.
It's just, she's doing everything she possibly can to make it impossible.
I think she should embrace how unusual he is, because in some ways it took her, and you can see this really, the direct comparison is to her fashion style. He made her a fashion icon because he was you have to just not stop pursuing trends, you have to set trends yourself. And in the same way that I always think, if you know businesses or people that are getting purged from social media, ask critically why, because maybe you don't agree with what they're saying, but you should understand what message is being pulled from tech by these big companies. Kim Kardashian should look at Kanye West and be like, what about you is captivating public attention, even when people hate you, because I can probably turn that into money. And they would have so much money to give their children. Not that they don't already, but
the hell with bros. Them getting back together is the romantic comedy we need.
Please.
Somebody make that movie, please. Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.